A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V.
Even though their song was not perfectly tuned by our standards, they came singing their alphabet song anyway. Dr. Albert J. Roboteau wrote in the book Fire in the Bones that in 1862, a teacher named Harriet Ware attended a funeral on one of the South Carolina Sea Islands. She was a white Christian missionary who was surprised by the ceremony that her black students created to commemorate the dead. All of the students were recently freed slaves. She wrote, quote, "As we drew near to the grave, we heard all the children singing their ABC through and through again, as they stood waiting around the grave for the rest to assemble. Each child had his or her school book or picture book in their hands. This was another proof that they considered their lessons some sort of religious exercises," end quote. Like this teacher, many missionaries were impressed by the former slaves and were amazed at the sacrifices that they were willing to make in order to obtain book learning despite the poverty, uncertainty, and precariousness of their lives in the post-bellum South. These freed men and freed women pursued education so that they could read their Bibles for themselves, and yes, study was as worship unto God for them. This story of the slaves praying the alphabets reminds us of the foundational knowledge that we often take for granted today, the knowledge for which our foremothers and forefathers died. The life lesson that I would like to share with you is to know your ABCs. While I am suggesting that you should actually pray your ABCs as a ritual of remembrance for the privileges that you enjoy, I'm also encouraging you to go back to the basics every now and then. Look at what you know from your faith and what you have learned from your career paths as a gesture of thanks for the life that you are weaving for your kids' kids. Hosea 4:6 posits that we set ourselves up for destruction because of what we do not know. The more knowledge that we have is connected to the freedom and power that we will possess. Do not take it for granted. Be thankful for all that you know by reviewing and learning more. One of the aims of my organization, the Insight Initiative, is to go beyond preventing destruction because of ignorance. We desire to promote the message that true knowledge is when you understand the value of what you comprehend. Abundant life is when you are proactive. You take the initiative in pursuing insight and using knowledge for the glory of God. We find in Proverbs 4:5-7 this passage: "Get wisdom, get insight. Do not forget, nor turn away from the words of my mouth. Do not forsake her, and she will keep you. Love her, and she will guard you." The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Whatever else you get insight. Movers and shakers value foundational knowledge because what we establish is what remains. Our foundation is that which we meditate on and rehearse regularly. For example, my paternal grandfather, Deacon Jones, suffered from Alzheimer's disease, and as his health declined, what remained for him were the entire hymns and scriptures that he recited from an early age. I firmly believe that we can impress into the fabric of who we are a solid foundation through regular remembrance and gratitude of every milestone that we accomplish. Because as the elders say, if you don't use it, you will lose it. Surely you will and have progressed beyond praying ABCs, and of course, you pray prolific prayers overflowing with insight, but there is something to be said to thoroughly contemplate the stony road that has been trod by our foreparents. Who knows? You may recall old landmarks that you have unwittingly set aside or forgotten. So the life lesson is to reverse the miseducation and perhaps try saying, praying, make sure you know your ABCs as a ritual to remember and give thanks for those who have strived, toiled, and died for the privilege of literacy. It is a life-giving right to pass on for generations to come. And remember to move and shake things up right where you are. See you soon. Bye.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q,